Welcome to a deep dive on reading effectively.
I'm excited to be here.
We're diving into how to read a book, the classic guide to intelligent reading.
It's a classic for a reason.
Whether you're a bookworm or just starting out,
There's something here for everyone.
this book starts with a fascinating fact.
It says that reading improvement plateaus after 6th grade.
Really?
Yeah, most of us don't get specific training after that point.
So we just kind of assume we're good to go.
Right, and we miss out on a whole new level of understanding.
This book outlines 4 levels of reading,
Starting with elementary reading, the basic level.
like decoding words and sentences,
Then we move up to inspectional reading.
skimming and scanning to get the main idea,
Next is analytical reading.
where we dig deep, analyze arguments, really understand the text.
It's like reaching the summit.
And finally, syntopical reading.
Comparing and contrasting information from multiple sources.
So where do you see yourself on this reading mountain?
That's a good question to consider.
Because the book really emphasizes that effective reading is active.
Not just passive absorption.
It's about asking questions, challenging assumptions.
The book says, and I love this quote, "The more active the reading, the better.
Oh, I like that.
One reader is better than another in proportion as he is capable of a greater range of activity in reading and exerts more effort."
So the more we put in, the more we get out.
No shortcuts.
It reminds me of those times I've zoned out while reading.
And realized you absorbed nothing.
Exactly. Active reading is the key.
And a big part of that is understanding the structure of a book.
Like giving it an x-ray.
The table of contents is a great tool for this.
Like a map of the book.
Showing you the key landmarks
You can get a sense of the author's main points.
and how they'll develop their argument.
The book also highlights the difference between words and terms.
Right. It's easy to think they're the same.
But terms have specific meanings in the context of the book.
Like a secret code you need to crack.
Once you do, you can uncover the author's propositions.
Those judgments they're making about the subject.
And those are often found in the most important sentences.
The ones that make you stop and think.
And sometimes struggling with a sentence leads to an aha moment.
It forces you to engage more deeply.
Once you understand the propositions, you can find the arguments.
Those sequences of sentences supporting the judgments.
But it's not enough to just understand the argument.
We need to critically evaluate it.
That's where critical reading comes in.
It's not just agreeing or disagreeing.
It's about asking, is the author well-informed? Are they accurate?
Are their arguments logical? Is their analysis complete?
And we need specific evidence from the text to support our critique.
The book also mentions extrinsic aids to reading.
Things like other books on the topic, commentaries, reference books.
They can provide context, but shouldn't replace reading the book itself.
Right, we don't want to rely too much on external sources.
We need to build our own analytical skills.
So are we ready to tackle different genres and see how these principles apply?
Absolutely. Let's dive in. I know some genres can feel more intimidating.
Yeah, like those classic novels, they can be a bit daunting.
But remember, these principles apply to all genres.
So with fiction, how do we apply analytical reading?
Instead of searching for objective truth, we're looking for the author's artistic vision.
So the focus shifts a bit.
Exactly. We look at things like plot character development themes.
Trying to find the unity of the story.
Right, what's the central problem the author is exploring?
And those important sentences.
In fiction, they give us insights into the characters.
And sometimes those sentences are just beautifully written,
The book recommends reading fiction quickly the first time.
just to get the overall story.
Then you can go back and savor those special passages.
That's a great tip.
What about history?
How do we apply these techniques to historical accounts?
We need to be extra critical readers with history.
Because every account has its own perspective.
Exactly. It's like getting different eyewitness accounts of an accident.
Each person sees it from their own angle.
The book's first rule for reading history is to read multiple accounts.
To get a more complete picture.
Right, and to understand the potential biases.
But history is also about the human story, isn't it?
Absolutely recognizing those patterns of human behavior.
It's like history is a laboratory for understanding human nature.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, let's move on to science.
I know science can seem daunting,
All those complex theory.
but even the most challenging scientific works are trying to solve problems.
So we still look for that unity of the book.
Exactly. What's the central question the scientist is trying to answer?
And those key terms, they can be tricky.
Yeah, a lot of technical terms in science.
Like learning a new language.
Once you grasp those terms, the propositions become clearer.
The book suggests reading classic works of science.
They can give you a deeper appreciation for scientific thought.
Okay, now for the big one, philosophy.
I understand it can feel intimidating.
It seems so abstract.
The key to reading philosophy is active thinking.
Read slowly, underline question.
Don't be afraid to take your time.
Philosophy is definitely not for speed reading,
Pay attention to the author's key terms and propositions.
but also to their philosophical style.
Right. How do they present their ideas?
Through dialogues, treatises, aphorisms,
And just like history, reading multiple works can be helpful.
to see different perspectives on the same questions.
Now let's talk about social science.
It feels tricky because we all have opinions about social issues
The challenge is stepping back from our own preconceptions.
and seeing things objectively.
Social science can broaden our perspectives
The book warns about the deceptive ease of reading social science.
because the language can seem familiar.
So we might think, oh, I already know this.
But pay attention to the author's technical terms and assumptions.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion.
And reading multiple works is crucial here too.
To see the different perspectives and methodologies.
Social science is full of debate and disagreement.
Reading multiple viewpoints helps us form our own conclusions.
We've covered a lot of ground.
It's amazing how these reading principles can be applied to so many different types of books.
It shows that reading is a skill we can develop.
The more we practice, the better we become. It's like we've been training for a mental marathon.
And now we're ready for the ultimate challenge.
Syntopical reading.
Bringing all our skills together.
To read multiple books on the same question.
Becoming detectives of knowledge.
It sounds a bit intimidating.
Well, the book gives us a 5-step process.
Okay, let's hear it.
First, we identify the terms of our inquiry.
So like defining the scope of our research.
Exactly. Then we find the relevant passages in each book.
That address our specific question.
It's like creating our own index across multiple books.
That actually sounds kind of fun.
And as we do this, we pay attention to the different answers each author provides.
How do they relate to each other?
Are they complementary, contradictory?
Do they offer different interpretations of the same evidence?
We need to be critical readers here.
Not just accepting everything at face value.
Analyzing, comparing, contrasting.
The book stresses being objective and impartial.
It's not about proving a point.
It's about understanding the full range of perspectives.
Right, and when we synthesize all these viewpoints,
We create our own understanding of the topic,
like weaving a tapestry of knowledge,
using threads of insight from multiple minds.
it's really empowering.
We become active participants in the conversation of ideas,
Syntopical reading is the ultimate expression of effective reading.
taking ownership of our learning.
Becoming intellectual explorers.
And remember, these are all skills we can develop with practice.
From elementary to syntopical reading.
So keep challenging yourself.
Keep diving deep.
Who knows what insights you'll uncover.
And most importantly,
Enjoy the journey.
reading should be a pleasure.
Absolutely happy reading, everyone.
Keep those pages turning.
And keep exploring those incredible worlds of knowledge.
That wraps up our deep dive.
On how to read a book effectively
We hope you found it valuable.
and feel empowered to take your reading to the next level.